It's all for you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down, cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
Forever, I'm certain, cause I still got heart racing, mind pacing, breath chasing. I'm nervous, you're worth it, so perfect.
Like saying the L word for the first time.
Like an officer behind you at a stop sign.
I just wanna please and not disappoint you. Like the Lord, I wanna anoint you. Your presence give me chills, I don't wanna chill. Caught up in my feels, you know I'm for real.
You immaculate like the conception, no question, you're a blessing. All that I could ever need and more, nothing like I ever had before. So when you walk through the door and you look in my eyes, it feels like the very first time. I could fall for you forever, I'm certain, cause I still get nervous.
Welcome to another episode of Dad Is Not a Noun, changing the narrative for men of color and fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And today what I care about is what you just heard was a YouTube video that went viral. It was a joint that John Legend put out. People put their kind of spin to it. And my guest today, father and son duo, brother Rick and his son Javier, did their thing. John Legend was impressed by it, put it on his social media, and the rest is history. But they've been doing this for a while, so they're not like newbies to it. So they've been doing it for a minute, and I'm truly honored for them to come on to the show. Brother Rick and young King Javier, thank you for coming on the program. How you guys doing? And my main question is, how's your heart? And the reason why I asked that question, how's your heart, because I'm all about mental health. And as men, as Black men, I want us to be vulnerable and be willing to open and share, whether it's positive or if you're going through some stuff. So my main question is, how's your heart today?
First of all, we want to just say we appreciate you for reaching out to us, man, and inviting us to be a part of Dad Is Not a Noun. We're very grateful. My heart is righteous, man. My heart is righteous. I believe anybody that listens to my music know I believe in the Bible, and that's really all I live by. And according to scripture, the heart is the mind, and my mind is a righteous mind. My heart is full, and I'm grateful.
That's awesome, man. Javier, how's your heart, young King?
My heart's righteous too.
Nice. I love that. And I'm gonna pose this to you because you're a man of faith, right? What does this saying mean to you? Walk by faith and not by sight. What does that mean to you as a father, as a husband, as a man, as a Black man? What does that saying mean to you?
For me, to walk by faith and not by sight is I walk according to what the book has already laid down. I don't believe that it missed anything. It foretold a lot of things, and there's nothing lacking. So to walk by faith is I'm walking according to what I can read and understand, and not according to the things that I see. Because the things that I see sometimes makes me mad. And if I walked by my sight, right, the things that make me mad, then I'm going to set a bad example. I'm going to set a bad tone for the rest of my house. I'm the leader in my household. Jesus has put me in the position to lead my family, my son, my wife, my daughter, my family in general, right? And as a leader, everything that I do is put on display. And now that we've gone viral, even more so, right? So to walk by faith and not by sight, I'm only walking according to what he said is right or wrong, and not according to how I feel and according to the things that I see every day.
That's powerful. And young King, Javier, what are your thought process on that saying? You know, being you know, before you become a mentor, you have to be a protege, and you're the protege. So what are your thoughts of that saying? What that mean to you?
I mean,
To walk by faith and not by sight. What does that mean to you?
to listen to God.
How do you apply it to your life?
Do what God say, and whatever He says leads you to righteousness.
That's awesome. And you know, everyone has a journey. So talk about your journey to where you're at right now. Like, have you always had this faith, or was it something that you kind of grew into? Because I saw that previous interview you did, which was an amazing interview, where you were born in Illinois, but you became a man in Minnesota. So break that down for me.
So, as you stated, you know, I was born in Illinois, raised in Springfield, Illinois. And as a teenager, I got into, I'm not going to say a little bit of trouble. I got into a lot of trouble. And my mom was like, you know, the best thing for you is to send you to Minnesota, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, not too far from Minneapolis, for those that don't know, to send you to Minnesota with your dad. She was like, basically, I've done all that I can up to this point, her and my stepdad, right? And shout out to my mom, my stepdad, my stepmom, my two dads and my two moms. I don't believe in steps. I believe in moms and dads. So shout out to both my moms and both my dads, who are very influential in my life. But she was like, I gotta send you to Minnesota with your dad. The things that you're doing, the trouble you're getting into, it's best for me and best for you if I send you to your dad and give him the opportunity to do what, I'm not going to say do what I can't, but do what I refuse to let her do for me. So as once I went to Minnesota, I moved there when I was 16. So I was just getting into my teen years, where I was starting to become who I was going to be for like at least the next 5 to 10 years. So I moved to Minnesota with him. And when I moved there with him, it was a major lifestyle change, because he couldn't do exactly what my mom was doing because I wouldn't allow it to work for me.
Okay.
Right? I almost said it didn't work, but it does work if you work it. But I didn't allow it to work for me. So my dad had to change some things. He had to strip me down from a lot of things, because my mom, she didn't spoil me, but I wasn't in lack.
Right.
Like, my story isn't I came up in the struggle. I know about the struggle. I came up around the struggle.
Right.
But I didn't come up in the struggle, because my mom and my other dad, they made sure that we didn't lack anything. And then when I moved to Minnesota with my dad and my other mom, we still didn't lack anything, but he made you work for everything.
Right.
So that's why I said once I got to Minnesota, that's where I matured. So I grew up, I was born and raised in Springfield, but I matured once I got to Minnesota. My dad put me in a position to where it was like, I'm not coddling you. I'm going to make sure you have what you need, but anything you want, you're going to have to work for it. And the things that you need, you're going to have to put in work to make sure that you have some of those as well. So I was able to mature and eventually become a man in Minnesota. And that's why on the last interview, I said I represent both. I have to represent Illinois, but I also have to represent Minnesota.
No, I feel you. So were your dad like similar to Freeze from Boys in the Hood? Was he similar to that?
Nah.
To that character?
No. He had a very, very, very similar mentality, right? But he acted differently. The way in which he went about raising me and my brothers and sisters, it was a little different. As we got older, like on Boys in the Hood, he was on them since he was like 12.
Facts.
You know, my dad he gave us a lot of room to bump our heads because he knew that we would learn from those mistakes. So he gave us a lot of room to bump our heads. And as we started to actually become men, that's when he became like that. Listen, one of his sayings always was respect always wins. He said, even if you lose a fight, respect always wins. And those are the type of nuggets that he used to give us growing up. Those are the things that he taught us as we were becoming men. And at a young age, you don't understand what that means. But as you get older and then have kids of your own, all of those things start to come back around full circle. And it's like, man, now I'm teaching my kids the same thing. Respect always wins. Well, in my case, Jesus always wins. But
No, I feel you on that, man. That's dope. That's dope. And then what are some of the life lessons that your father taught you that you're teaching your children?
Some of the life lessons, like I said, one of the biggest ones is respect always wins. But when it comes to what I'm teaching my children, I teach them to work for everything that you want. If it's given to you, then praise Jesus, it was a gift. Be grateful for the gift, but be also willing to work for what you want. My dad made sure we could have jobs. You weren't going to live in my house. And I'm talking about, some people's parents don't make them get jobs so they're out of high school. Some people's parents may not even care. But while we were in high school, my dad was like, y'all need some jobs. You want shoes, you want haircuts, you want to go places, you want to do things. You're not spending my money. My money is to make sure you have the necessities. You can make your own money and do all the other things that you want to do. But on top of that, your grades also have to be kept up. So that was one of the things that my dad instilled in me, not just my biological father, but like I said, my other dad. He was the same way. They have a phenomenal work ethic, both of them. And I was lazy for a while, but as I said, as I started to mature, I realized there were some things that needed to change because you can't be lazy and still claim you want these things, but not willing to do what it takes to get those things.
Right.
So those are some of the same life lessons that I'm instilling into my children. And then even more so, there were some things that, like, we grew up in the church. Like my mom and my dad, my mom's and my dad's always made sure that we went to church, right? But there were things that the church wasn't necessarily teaching. Like they'll teach you about Jesus and things like that, and they'll teach you who he is.
Right.
But they don't always teach every aspect that he expects for you to serve him. So my parents couldn't teach me that because they didn't have it. But those are the things that I'm now instilling into my children. It's not always easy, especially coming from where I come from. Because like I said, I didn't grow up in the struggle, but I grew up around the struggle. See, I grew up in the streets. I did all the same things that everybody in the streets did. The only difference was I didn't do it for the same reason as them because I didn't necessarily need anything. I did it because I wanted to, not because I felt like I had to. So therefore I became just as they had. And then after I got a little older and I didn't have my parents there paying for things for me, then I had to. So I got in it because I wanted to, right? That's what I grew up around. All my cousins, my uncles, my dad used to sell drugs. So I grew up around that type of stuff. So that's what I wanted to be. Right. And then the gangster rap back then taught that that's who you needed to be if you wanted to have respect. So I got into it because I wanted to, but eventually I was in it because I ain't had no other choice. So, but that's once I was an adult. Like I said, I didn't grow up in the struggle. I grew up around it. And then after I got a little older, I was all in the struggle, Jack.
I feel you on that, man. Just saying that the streets, you'll learn real fast from the street, and it just having like a great structure system to just pull you away from that. Say you know what's gonna happen if you do that, right?
That's right.
And so that's good. So Javier, man. So tell me like what's some of the life lessons you've learned from your father so far?
Stay out of the streets.
What else? It gotta be more than stay out of the streets, school. What else? Don't be shy.
I don't know.
Like what things do I get on you about? Like we sit and have Bible study, just me and you, because there's certain things as a man that you need to know, right? Like what are some of those things we talked about? What is my expectation from you? Look up. What is my expectation from you in school?
Be good.
Be good, but what about school itself? What do you go to school for?
To learn.
What is my expectation when it comes to learning?
To make sure you do good.
Make sure you do good. What about how you treat others?
Be respectful.
That's
Now,
right.
where do we get all of these rules from?
School.
No, where do we get these rules from? The things that I'm instilling in you, where do I get them from?
Bible.
The Bible.
Go ahead, gang. You're wise beyond your age, man. Just to let you know about that. You're very wise. So let's get into the musical journey. Again, walk by faith and not by sight. When did you realize like you had a gift? When was that moment?
I realized I had a gift when I was about 6.
Hmm.
My uncle was the youth choir director at the church, and like I said, both sets of my parents always made sure we were in the church. We didn't miss literally anything when it came to church. Once they were old enough to understand how they wanted to raise their families, right?
Hmm.
So my uncle was the youth choir director, and his daughter was leading one of the songs, and I was singing it at home all the time, and I heard they told me I sounded good, so I was like, I want to do it. So he let me do it, and as I did it, people started tearing up. Then the following Sunday when we actually did it, other people started tearing up, and everybody just kept telling me how good I was, and that was the moment that I knew that I had a gift.
Wow. And then what came first, the writing or the singing?
The singing came first. Hold on. Wait a minute. That's a good one. I guess the singing came first because I was only singing what I was told to sing. But the writing came so close to the singing. Once I found out that I could sing, I just wanted to write. I wanted to be the next this and the next that, you know? So I started writing, and boy, was it horrible. But I thought it was great.
Do you remember the first song you wrote? Do you remember it by heart?
Oh man, it was
Did I
called
put you on spot?
Nightmare Prayers.
Okay.
Listen, I was young, brother. It was called Nightmare Prayers. I can't believe I'm going back this far. So it was like, these are the prayers of a nightmare. They call them nightmare prayers. I don't even know what the song was about, really. But I just remember that part.
It sounds like a children's song for Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, that was I believe that was my very first song that I wrote. And then it's just been up from there.
And then, like later on in life, when did you feel like you feel like this can be something serious? Like this can be like I can like seriously make money from.
When I was in Minnesota, when I got to Minnesota, as I was saying in the last interview, right, my brother, he's a year younger than I am. We both have the same mind when it comes to how we approach music, how we hear music for the most part, and how we write music. Well, our similarities as far as what we like is very similar. So the first thing they asked us, they was like, man, we know y'all be rapping all the time. Like, we didn't rap anywhere, but just like amongst ourselves. And they were like, we want y'all to do a rap at church. And we was like, okay, they're going to let us rap at church. So we wrote the rap, me, him, and another brother. We wrote it. And after that, we started getting invites everywhere.
Wow.
All the small churches and all the little programs, everybody wanted us to come to their church and rap. So sometimes we did the same song. Other times we would write different songs. And every time we performed, it was just like this big deal. These teenagers rapping about God, and man, that's when I was like, man, we could really do this and make some money doing it.
Wow, that's awesome. And then your brother was a part of a group, right?
Yes, he was part of what was called the Soda Boys.
Who came up with that title? Who came up with that name?
Now that's a good question. I wasn't a part of the group. Yeah. Now you know they were in Minnesota, so
Yes.
that's how they came up with Soda Boys. But yeah, I don't. Man, I would have to ask my brother that one, man. I don't know who came up with the name, but yeah, man, that was one of my favorite groups back in the day, man. I think I still got some of their CDs laying around here somewhere. They ended up moving out to Cali and doing their thing out in California for a while.
Wow.
Yep, the Soda
So,
Boys.
so has has Javier heard any of the music from the Soda Boys? Nope.
He doesn't know that it's them.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did ever since yesterday.
He's heard their songs, but he didn't know that it was them he was listening to.
Oh wow.
Because I have some of their songs in my iTunes library, and every blue moon I'll think of one and I'll pull it up and play it. But he has no idea who it is because it just says track 1, track 2, stuff like that.
Sing a song. Sing one of their songs.
No.
Just little.
No, man. You can't even answer his question. You want me to sing some songs?
Sing some song. Go for it. Let me pose this question to you. When you listen to one of those songs, did that kind of bring some nostalgia to you? Like, oh, that's my brother. Like,
yeah. It's no different than listening to the Jackson 5s. I'm not saying that they're as old as the Jackson 5,
right.
But yeah, it takes you back to a place that you were at the time when you first heard it, or what the things that you were getting into back then. So yeah, it definitely brings back nostalgia. But you can't sing no Soda Boys songs on here. The Soda Boys was kind of dirty back in the day, man.
Okay.
They got some real street songs, man. And we can't
this is PG-13 right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And like again, going back to the theme, walk by faith and not by sight. When did you realize your son Javier had a gift?
When he was about 3, 2, 3.
Like 4, probably.
4 is when you recorded your first song. What? But I knew that you had a gift before that. That's why at 4 you recorded your first song.
When?
Well, you were running around singing around the house all the time. Especially Fat Albert. You sung everything that was on Fat Albert.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I knew he had a gift a while ago. Like I say, when he was somewhere between the ages of 2 and 3, since he could talk.
Wow.
Since he could, in his own mind, put together some melodies.
Wow.
That's when I knew that he had a gift. Now, I'll be honest. I'm not going to say I just knew he was special. Nah, I didn't know, right? I just knew he could be. And over time, he became what he could be. And more than.
Like, when did you realize that he can carry a note? Because, there's different types of singing. You got people that can sing, and then you got some people that can sing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
when he was 4 years old, when he did his first song, the first song that he done, I don't remember what it is now, but he was asked to record a song for a fashion show. And they played his song as the people were walking on the runway. Like I say, I don't really remember what it is now. It was so long ago. But yeah, that's when I knew that, this might be something that he's very good at.
Wow, that's awesome. Javier, so when you listen to yourself sing, what comes to your mind when you listen to yourself sing? Do you like say, I'm good? Are you a little confident? Like, you know what, I'm good? Or you stay humble?
Like, I'd be like singing the words in my head as I sing them out loud sometimes. And like, sometimes I'd be like encouraging myself while I sing.
That's all.
Do you think you're good?
Yes.
That's right. I know you're good.
You're humble though, right? Mm-hmm. Indeed.
That's right. And just talk about, as a father, talk about that power of affirmation to your son and to your other kids, like that power of that encouragement. Because sometimes kids can fall into that trap of like they feel like they're not good enough. But talk about that power of affirmation.
Affirmation is very powerful. Now, my form of affirmation is different than a lot of dads. We find our affirmation in Jesus. So when things go left or seem to be going left, I remind you of who he said that you are. I remind you of what he said he can do. And I remind you of your position with him, which makes you better than where you think you are.
Mm,
You know, your obedience to him puts you in a position that only a few people will ever find.
right.
You know, and I just remind them of that. You know, sometimes, and I'll give you an example. Like, he likes to play his game. He used to play more. He doesn't play as much as he did, but he likes to play his game, and he gets upset sometimes when he plays,
Right.
and things really make him upset. And sometimes I have to remind him that you are only as good as Jesus allowed you to be. But the
Mm,
things that they are good at, these guys that are beating you, there's things that they can't even do that you're 10 times better than maybe even their parents at,
that's
you
right.
know? And this is the position that Jesus put you in. And we just going to be grateful for that. If he say you going to get better, you keep on practicing and you will. If he say you're never going to get better, we'll just be content with knowing that he knows what's best. And that's the type of affirmation that I give them. I just remind them of who they are and who they belong to.
And that's important. And I love that, man. And then also talk about what led you to get onto social media. Because you seem like a person that's not really into social media. Like, you kind of stay away from it. But what led you to do the social media thing?
So, doing music nowadays, like, I've been doing music a long time. And before, it wasn't about social media. It was about getting the right connection, getting in front of an AR, letting them hear your music, and hopefully somebody will take you under their wing to help you go to the next level. That's what it was about, trying to do shows and open up for certain artists, which that part is still as important as it was, but it wasn't about social media. So with me coming up in an era where social media was really only to socialize, I wasn't with the music social media movement. I only used it to socialize, but especially dealing with my nephew back here, with him being so much younger than I am, he like 14 years younger than I am. So with him being so much younger than I am, he sees things in a different way, right?
Mm,
He sees things for his time the time that we're in.
right.
Look, this is the move. People are getting famous from this, and people are getting famous from that. So him and other folks that are around me, like him, other folks that I call my nephews, they're like, man, you got to get on social media. You got to get on Instagram. You got to start promoting your stuff on Facebook. How is people going to know about it? It's not like we're buying billboards and stuff, right?
Right.
So that's what caused me to start moving a little more in the direction of social media with my music. But you hit the nail on the head. I am not a social media person. Like, if you notice, and you probably have, all you see is
Music.
whatever I promote for that day. There's never any updates. It's not a day in my life. There ain't no whole bunch of pictures. I'm trying to get more into it because that is the new wave, but it's just not me. I'm trying though, man. I'm doing the
No,
best I can.
but I feel you, man. But again, being a father, you have to lead by example, and it's about moderation because we live in a
Absolutely.
generation where like social media is like water, and the way everything is designed is to keep your attention. Like
Yeah, yeah.
any social media, like just the way the algorithm works and the notifications, and how when you go through your thread is there to keep you attracted to that, than being a part of the, like, enjoying the world that we live in, like being outside and speaking to your neighbors. Like, your neighbors is this, unfortunately, but that's the reality. But
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. It's like you're leading by example by teaching your kids about moderation. Yeah, you can go on social media, but just go on for a little bit, but do homework,
Absolutely.
make music, go outside and play with your friends. But
Be
like, just talk about
productive.
that. Yeah, talk about that.
It's very important for us to be productive, right? We are called as a people to go out and become leaders amongst men, leaders amongst followers. And the only way for us to be able to do that in the right way, we have to be productive. We have to do something other than this
Yeah,
or this,
yeah.
right? So yeah, it's very important that we are productive. It's very important that we understand some things have to, not just need to, they have to be done in moderation, because there's other things that you need to do. Right? There, like when I'll give you another example. When COVID hit, he spent so much time in the house on his game that it bothered me. But he really couldn't do anything else.
Right.
But we had all picked up all kind of extra weight, man, sitting in this house all the time. But it bothered me that his free time was his game system. So once things started to die down, it was like, go outside. I don't care what's going on. Go outside and play. And it became so regular that I was telling them, you need to go outside and play, that after a while, it was like, you need to come in the house. So it teaches them to be productive, and it teaches them how to deal with people.
Yeah.
Right? Because behind the screen, people are totally different.
So true.
But when you deal with a person face to face, then you can see them for who they are, and you can deal with them for where they are. And those are skills that you're only going to learn by putting down the phone, getting from in front of the TV or from in front of your computer or whatever it is. You have to go out and be a part of this real world. And again, as I said, according to scripture, we're called to be leaders amongst men. The only way we can do that is to go out and become a leader amongst men. You're not going to do that on social media.
That's right.
You'll look like you're doing that, but you ain't really a leader, because what kind of leader would you be if you leading everybody to damnation? You leading everybody to destruction with what you're doing. Kanye is a leader, but what kind of leader is Kanye right now? I'm not saying he wasn't at one point great. I'm not saying he can't be again. But right now, what kind of leader is Kanye? He has a platform, and like I said the other day, whatever platform a person deserves, give it to him. It's freedom of speech. We have to be able to make a choice. If there was no evil, we wouldn't know what good is. So let everybody have whatever platform they gonna have, but you have to understand the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, so that you can make the best choice, so that you can be as productive as you can be amongst your people, and in our case, be as righteous as you can be, so that in the end, you get a reward and not a punishment.
Facts. And I love what you're saying, because what you're teaching your children is you're giving them learning lessons.
Absolutely.
You know, just like letting them know like between the difference between right and wrong. Because, you know, some kid, like a lot of kids don't know the difference between right or wrong. Like I use the theory of the hot stove. A kid's not going to know the stove is hot until they touch it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Know?
Some things kids don't know until they experience it, because nobody ever taught them.
Yep. Facts. And like, talk about when you started the TikTok and started the collaboration with your son, was it something that he jumped on? Or was it something, it was like he saw you doing it and he's like, Dad, I want to be a part of it? Or was it like a mutual thing? How did that all come together?
So when I went viral, it was just a big surprise to everybody. Like nobody can plan to go viral, right? Yeah. So when I went viral the first time, it was just kind of like, wow, this is interesting. I went from 138 followers to like 50,000. So it was like, man, this is interesting. And he was like, excuse me, his biggest thing was, that's not fair. I only got 2,000 followers. I've been on here longer than you. I got all these videos. That's not fair. So he went from that's not fair to I want to do a TikTok with you. And I kept saying, all right, I'll figure out something. And then once I figured out how we wanted to approach it, the rest is history. He came down, he recorded his verse. I told him how we gonna do it, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since, man.
Like, Javier, talk about your process of like making that music, like retaining and like memorizing like the lyrics without reading it. Like, because some people don't have that gift that you have. I know you're working on the writing aspect. I know that's going to come down the road where you're going to write your own stuff down the road, but just talk about that process of remembering, just to remember it and just recite it on just blast, just like that.
Well, ever since I was a kid, like my dad would play music, and I would like listen to him for like 1 to 2 times, and then I know like the whole song after that. So when he writes like he said in the last one yesterday, he was like saying when we make a TikTok, it's like it takes like 2 seconds to record. But if we're making like an actual song, like we're release something, it takes like 3 hours for me to get done recording.
Because you're a perfectionist. I understand. You want to make it perfect. That's why it takes 3 hours. So I'm with you on that. I'm team Javier with this one. but as a dad, talk about those, because you're making those real dad memories with Javier. Like, talk about that. Like, I know you don't think about it now, but when he's in his 20s, like when he's in his 30s, these are like video photo albums of you guys together. So just I know you can't see what's going to happen in the future, but just talk about like in the moment now that you creating these digital memories with your son. Talk about that.
So as you said, like you don't know what the future is going to hold, and I wasn't looking at it like we're making memories. You know, we kind of we plan for tomorrow, but we live in the now. And that's kind of how it is. Like, we go into it, and when we're doing it, and what's on my mind is this is the now. We need to do this now. We need to record this video now. And then whatever happens now, happens now. And if God allows us to see tomorrow, we'll worry about tomorrow. We got plans for tomorrow. We got plans for next month. We got plans for next year. But we have to live in the now. So it didn't really click at first that we were making memories until everybody starts saying these memories, he'll never forget these moments. And I'm like, I mean, that's very true. I didn't look at it like he'll never forget these moments, and these moments will always be recorded in history. So now that it is like that, it's great to continue to do that for as long as I'm allowed to do so. But I still don't really think about it because I focus on the now. You know, there'll be memories once they're memories. Right now, they're still so fresh. I'm grateful for them. I'm glad we got them. I don't ever wish they would ever go away. But for me, it's always like, today's a new day. What are we going to do today?
I'm just envisioning, like, you know, when you're a granddad and Javier is with his son and he's watching these videos of you. And like, yeah, this is me and my dad.
Hey, like, that's gonna be an awesome thing, man. You know, because unfortunately, I like to say fortunately, unfortunately, right? Everybody don't have that opportunity because everybody doesn't have an active dad. Right. But it's, like I said, it's fortunately, unfortunately, because people deserve a dad, but fortunately, because Jesus knows best, and I don't want to step on his toes by saying something I shouldn't say about his plan. So, but yes, everybody don't have that opportunity to make those type of memories. So it's like, it's a pretty awesome thing when you mention it in that form. It's like, man, that's pretty cool to have a grandson watching you and your son making those type of memories. And then they're not, I don't want to call anybody's memory average, but for lack of a better word, they're not an average memory. Like, these are viral TikTok moments where hundreds of thousands of people around the world were watching you.
Yeah. And you're bringing happiness to a lot of people's life because, again, I'm an advocate for mental health.
Yeah.
And those videos you're posting with your son is inspiring a lot of people through a lot of dark days. Like, your one video puts a smile on a person's face that's having a crappy day. They're on TikTok, they watch your video with you and your son, and it just changes their whole perspective on life because of that one video.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. it's still, I still get a warm feeling, right? Whenever somebody comments, I needed this, or
Wow.
you don't understand what I've been going through, and this helped me. One guy, when I did the Dax video before me and Javier started doing our videos together, he was like, you and Dax helped me to stop drinking. I haven't drunk in X amount of months or
Right.
X amount of weeks now. I'll always be grateful to you. And it's like, that's the type of leader that we're called to be, but it's a blessing when you could actually see the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
And I get it a lot. We get it a lot. People, oh, I needed this, or you don't know what I've been going through. These last couple of weeks or this last year has been hell for me. And the one that gets me the most, right? Because in my mind, I don't write sad songs.
Right.
But I write songs that people can relate to in
Mm.
sad moments.
Mm.
So the one that gets me all the time is, I can't believe I'm crying right now.
Wow.
Like, I get that so much. I can't believe I'm crying, or what is this water on my face? Like, there would be some of the funniest comments, but it's so many people that our quick little 30-second to a minute videos are touching in such a major way that they're actually crying because of what they're hearing and what they're seeing.
Yeah, because they feel that connection. Javier, what do you feel like how your and your dad's music is touching people's lives? How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like it's like changing people's ways, making them stop thinking about the wrong stuff, and making people turn to the Bible so they can go to the Holy Kingdom.
That's right.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So let's talk about the let's talk about the John Legend retweet. Like when he retweeted it, I know you were very humble about it, but when you first saw that retweet, what was it like for you internally? Like what were you thinking internally when you saw that retweet?
I was just grateful.
Mm.
Like it wasn't for me what it was for everybody else.
Right.
I've had a lot of opportunities that I've missed. I've had a lot of opportunities that I've passed on. So when things like that happen, things that you want to happen but don't always expect to happen,
right.
I just become very grateful. So when I first seen it, I think he had posted it like 4 hours before I seen it because I was working. Right. So I got off work, I went upstairs, and every time somebody reposted, somebody bigger than us, so to speak,
right,
I always tell them, hey, Javi, so-and-so reposted us. They duetted us. And he was like, oh, let me see. So we watch it, and we're just really grateful. So when it was John Legend, it was like, oh, man, I didn't expect for John Legend to duet us. I was hoping he would, but I didn't expect him to. So when he did, I was humbled, and I was just very grateful. But I tried. It's very hard to excite me. Right? I'm not, as they say, I ain't no spring chicken no more, man.
Bulls and Patriots.
Well, that's different.
What's that? What'd he say?
He said, what about the Chicago Bulls and the New England Patriots?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the Jordan days. You're not talking about this current Bulls. You're talking about
any Bulls. I'm a Bull fan. I'm a diehard. We're like the game on right now.
Oh, man. I appreciate you on the podcast because right now, so.
As I was cutting hair before the podcast, I'm like, we're going to turn this game on. We're going to watch this game until 8:15.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I guess when it comes to sports, I'm very competitive. So I get excited about that. But, like, opportunities, I get happy about opportunities. But I try not to get excited because there's so many selfish people out here that a lot of people, and I'm not going to say all, a lot of people don't genuinely want to help you. They just want to help themselves by using you.
Yep.
So, and I'm not saying that was John Legend. So, John, if you end up watching this, my brother, I ain't saying that was you.
Right.
But because I've experienced that so much, it's hard to get me excited. So, I'll tell you when I start getting excited. When I see the numbers go up past 500,000 views or 500, like on his video, I think we're at like almost 800,000 likes. So we're almost at 1 million likes on his repost. So that's when I start to get excited because it's like, all right, they really do like us.
That's right. And then when those numbers go up, you know, TikTok, Instagram, you know, you can start making money of it. Because I know some people that make $100 for each reel they post.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So that time is going to come, and then you're going to have that time when you're going to be on different TV show outlets and stuff like that, being on, sharing your story. So all that's going to come in due time, because again, your core has always been faith.
Absolutely.
So things are going to come, your blessings going to come your way because that's your core right there.
Yes, sir.
You never go high, you never go low, you're in the middle.
That's it. Got to stay grounded at all times.
And that's important too, man. Man, this has been a dope conversation, man. I can go on for another hour with you guys, just talking about everything. But before we end this episode, give me a proud dad moment you had of Javier. And Javier, I'll throw this question to you. Sorry about that. Rick, give me a proud son moment. And Javier, give me a proud dad moment.
Want to go first? We need to go first.
I'll go first. My first proud dad moment is when my big cousin texted me and he's seen him on Google. That's when I was happy.
Because your dad's on Google? Nice.
You're famous.
You Google famous. I love it. I thought it would be when he cheered when I made the winning basket. It was on Google.
No. And what's funny is I was like, man, I'm not famous. He is like, Dad, only famous people get profiles on Google. Like they got you on there as an artist, not just as your name.
He does have a point.
And that's when I said, okay, maybe you're on to something. I didn't look at it like that because I've been doing music so long. You could Google me, but they have me now listed on Google as like they list the mainstream artists. Mm-hmm. So that's when they's like, you're famous. And I was like, I don't think so. I checked my bank account recently, and it don't look famous to me.
That's I guess you got to check Wikipedia too. You might be on Wikipedia.
Maybe. I guess. I mean, at this point, you never know. I know one thing. Whenever you search Open Verse Challenge in any search engine, whether it be TikTok, Google, YouTube, you're definitely going to see us.
And that's good. Keep that going because that's important to your algorithm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I created the hashtag Brother Rick, because there wasn't one. But now you can hashtag Brother Rick and you're going to find plenty of stuff now.
That's right. And I think the business side, the next step is to trademark Brother Rick.
That's right.
Before someone take it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So a proud dad moment or a proud son moment for me, I have a lot of them. For me, mostly it's when he corrects somebody in the Word of God.
Wow.
Because everybody think they know. They don't always know. Everybody thinks they understand, but they don't always understand because the book tells you how you study. line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. So you have to know how to study the Bible, right? Because it was written only to those that actually want to serve him. But at the same time, it says that it's a snare or a trap to those that want to use it wrongly. So for me, I get very proud when somebody thinks that they know something, and he's not facetious about it. Right. He's not aggressive about it. He's very humble, and he'll say, nah, that ain't right. This is what it is. And sometimes they'll be like, no, you're wrong. And that's when I step in and say, listen, let's go to Mark chapter 14, and then I'll show them that he's absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. Those are my proud dad moments where it's like, okay, I am teaching him what I'm supposed to teach him. And I can see the fruit of that labor. I'll tell you another proud dad moment. Go for it, man. As far as the music goes, I feel so proud when he come in and drop a verse so hard that I had no idea that he was going to go that hard on that verse. Wow. I was so excited. Like the song that we're the first song that we're dropping from our EP called Walking Dead. Shout out to Flip the Track in Germany. My boy Flip the Track. He produced it. The first song that we're dropping from the EP Walking Dead, when he recorded the verse, now it took a while for him to do it, but when he got done, me and my nephew, we was listening to it, and I was like, hey, he snapped. I didn't expect him to deliver that verse like that. Or the first video we did that went viral. You better watch you spitting that. I'm a big dog, you a kitty cat. Listen, I did not expect him to go that hard on that verse. So when he did, I was like, cool.
Every time something lit, I turn up, bro. And I turned up when I heard his verse, bro. What? It stopped. It was lit.
Yeah. Dad went full MOP, Annie up on you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, I got a few proud dad moments, man. But that's two good examples. Whenever he corrects somebody in scripture, because the only way you can correct them is if you actually know what you're talking about. Right. Which means you're listening. And then whenever he come in and deliver a verse that I just didn't expect him to go that hard on, I just be like, yee, that's my boy.
That's dope. That is dope. Yo, man, this was a wonderful interview. Yes, Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Before we end this show, I'm going to give the last word to the nephew that's hiding in the back, the producer. You got the last word, man. What do you want to say to the people, brother? Or what do you want to say?
Man, praise Jesus always. Without him, nothing's possible. This wouldn't be possible without him. So
that's what's up, man.
That's really what I have to say, man.
That's all right. That's what's up, man. That's love, and we out. Like, subscribe, all that. Oh, before I go, how can people find you? Please go.
So y'all can find us on TikTok under Brother Rick. I am Brother Rick on Instagram, Brother Rick on Facebook, Brother Ricky on TikTok, because somebody else took the name. That's why I need to trademark it. Because somebody done took my name on TikTok. On Twitter. That's what it is. So Brother Ricky on Twitter. So that's where y'all can find us, man. Make sure y'all tap in. I do respond to a lot of my emails personally. I respond to a lot of the comments, not all of them, because sometimes it'd be hundreds of thousands of comments. I can't get to them all, but I am very active on my social media. I don't post a lot, but I do respond a lot. So y'all make sure y'all go out there and check us out. And remember, at the end of the day, we love all of y'all, and we mean that.
Facts. And when does the EP drops?
Just stay tuned for the EP. We ain't got a date on the EP yet. The plan for the single, though, the Walking Dead single, the plan is to drop the Walking Dead single before the 29th of this month. So I got to get on that. Because we got a show coming up on the 29th here in Bloomington, Illinois at the Hangar. It's called Hip Hop at the Hangar. We'll be performing there on October 29th. The show opens at 6. It's $10 at the door for anybody in the area that wants to come out and see us. This will actually be our very first performance since going viral. So we'll be out there performing, and the plan is to have that single dropped before the show so that way people can know what to expect. And when they hear it at the show, they can go and download it right away.
Dope. And it's gonna be on all streaming services like iTunes,
All
everything.
streaming services.
Dope. So be out to look for that. As soon as that come, please drop me that link.
For sure.
Because I will put that link in the description below in this interview, because this interview is going to be on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get Dad Is Not a Now. This interview will be there. And we're out. Peace. Thank you. Love. Blessings. We're out. All right.